Welcome to the Fall Off Podcast.
We talk about music, movies, mostly anything to do with entertainment.
We'll even talk about conspiracy theories here and there.
So sit back and enjoy the Fall Off Podcast.
5 minutes for Immortal.
You guys ready?
Yep. Cruz, you know your line?
That wasn't a fart. Huh?
Cruz, you know your line?
Today we're talking about Invincible.
Yep.
Have some spirit in it, damn you.
Guess what, buddy? We're recording.
Huh? Oh.
We are recording.
All right.
Alright. Today we are talking about Invincible.
It's going to be a little different from what we usually talk about. Like, we would usually talk about multiple different shows, but we decided to expand and sometimes talk about one thing.
Because we love it.
You guys know what to do for this stuff, so how about you start it
Oh,
off?
yeah. So what's the...
Finally, an episode where I don't talk so much.
For real.
All right.
But I will be asking questions.
Let's go. Where did we start? Where did we start?
I will tell you right now, I have only heard Invincible from, like, David's song, which was also in the soundtrack for the show, I'm pretty sure. Like, Feel It, I'm pretty sure is what it is.
In certain old shows, you could find people wearing, like, the comic book version because it was still popular back then with the comics. So I think, like, The Walking Dead also has a lot of Invincible parodies because Invincible was created by the same original creator.
So you're
author.
you're saying it's kind of like Marvel Comics style stuff.
Yeah, like they're making connections because like Daryl would be reading a comic book from Invincible, or somebody would be wearing a shirt in one of the seasons. It happens once a season. All right.
What is like the actual storyline behind it?
We're gonna get to it. It's time to talk about, but first we gotta talk about the characters, so that way you know what's gonna happen in season 1. All right, Cruz, you want to start?
Sure. Alright. So, the first and most important character, obviously, is Invincible himself, Mark Grayson.
Yep.
The main character of the show, you know, the whole powers and stuff. But the thing is, he didn't really start off with his powers, because...
He spent, for like 17 years of his life, he has no powers, but his dad's been waiting over time, and eventually he got him in a burger mart.
He got him working.
In a burger mart?
Their version of McDonald's.
Yeah. Yeah, he was throwing out trash.
I'm sorry, but could they not just found something else than burger marts?
Nope, it fits so well. Hey,
It fits
and
so
Burger Mart's gonna come back later in the story, so be ready for that.
Why don't they just name him the Kraken or something?
Kraken.
Well, yeah, so he got his powers and he threw a trash bag into space, and then there's a whole meme with Omni-Man or Nolan.
Are you sure?
Are you sure?
Yeah, we'll get to that. But pretty much, Invincible's the main character of the show, and majority of the show, we're gonna see him pile through errors. And you think superpowers are a good thing, but in the real world, how the show depicts it is, you still can be a good guy, but you can't save the world at both. You can't do both. And they're infiltrating that through every season, establishing Invincible as a character, and the fact that since he's so powerful, he's going to face characters that are so unbelievably powerful that if he fails to stop them, the world will be doomed.
All right.
And Cruz, would you like to introduce the second character?
Yep. Since it's already said Nolan, let's talk about Nolan, aka Omni-Man. Pretty much, kinda the first villain, not really, of the first season. You know, he does beat that crap out of his own son, so.
Bad. He launches him into a mountain, just starts pile driving him into
Child abuse, question mark?
Pretty much. I'll consider that murder. That's a massacre.
Another meme that
is
came
the
from
kid still alive?
Barely.
Then it's not technically murder, is it?
Nope. But it's a beat down of a lifetime.
So
We're
child
going to talk about another character that has to do something
just go
to beat
ahead.
down. Anyways, so the other came with another meme is, what will you have in 500 years? Think, Mark.
Think.
What will you have in 500 years?
I think that was like the first meme, and it got really popular. That would also helped expanding Invincible, but most of the time it was just because the show was really good and people were like, "Hey, this is a good start." And now for our third character, who we introduce? Who should we introduce for our third character? I think it should be. It's gonna be a hot take here. Immortal.
Yeah, I think Immortal's pretty fair.
Let me guess, immortal is immortal.
Yes, but
Not really.
Oh, how did I know?
No, he's not really immortal, you know. We'll talk about that
he
later.
can come back to life whenever he feels
So
like
is he
it.
invincible or immortal?
He's immortal.
He just dies and comes back.
Yeah. His body.
So like a phoenix.
So like if you kill him and if you manage to put him back together, he'll come back just fine. With all memories and everything.
So he dies, like his death animation is literally puzzle breaking.
Yeah.
Like turning into a whole. What?
So like he's been decapitated in the show multiple times. They stick his head back on. He comes back.
Yeah. But in first season, he was doing pretty good against Omni-Man.
He did really good. And he was also the leader of what we should consider a character unit, kind of.
Think of the Justice
Guardians
League.
of the Globe.
Think of like the Justice League.
Now, the reason why they did that, I like it because it reminded me of the Justice League. And so when they
From
them
DC?
all in the first episode, yes, bro, it introduced them right in the first episode at the very beginning. And then at the end of the episode, when Mark gets his powers, Omni-Man comes in there and kills them all. All of them. Kills all of them. All of them dead. They're all gone. Fish guy got hit with a hammer and died.
Mom, why didn't you let me watch more shows as a kid?
You need to watch it. It's so good. Bro, it's insane. I like how they did that because they introduced them as characters that we could sort of relate to, as immortal beings, Superman, a Green Lantern, and all them being their own different characters in the show. And then at the end of it all, just kills them. Just Omni-Man just kills them all. And I like that because it shows how strong Omni-Man is. It shows who he actually is off bat. And you so the rest of the show, you're looking at him from two sides. You're seeing his evil side and his actual good side the whole time. All right.
You know what's funny?
What?
I love how you're explaining this thoroughly, and I'm recording it because I'm gonna forget this in like 2 seconds. And the good thing is I can go back.
Oh, yeah. All right. Next character, Cruz. Cecil.
Cecil. So Cecil is like the person that assembled the Guardians of the Globe. He's like the main boss of the quote unquote good guys.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
He leads the world defense system.
he leads the world defense system. He put together the Guardians of the Globe. He recruited Invincible. Later in the show, Invincible doesn't really agree with him on much things, so he grabs him by the neck and gets in a fight with him.
Yep. And it does. And Cecil actually put up a good fight with whatever he had on him. But that's a character arc that you could see later on. You could tell when Cecil's introduced, you could tell he's going to be a main character that's going to be put onto the show pretty much all the time because of how he, for one, leads the world defense system. So he has involvement in every single superhero activity that Invincible would be in. And once he found out Invincible has superpowers, and he knows that he's not his dad who would not want to join the Guardians of the Globe, he takes advantage of that after his dad kills the Guardians of the Globe to try and get him into their defense systems that way, because they killed the strongest heroes on Earth. Omni-Man just killed them, and they don't know who did it because Omni-Man did it so fast, so he looks like he just almost got killed in the fight. So they just still don't know who killed the Guardians of the Globe. They think Omni-Man's just the only survivor. So when they see his son, who has the same abilities as him, flying around, you would kind of want him to be on your new defense systems, because everything's gone and aliens exist in this world. So you could get attacked at any moment. You could get jumped by a giant lava creature.
It's not a volcano.
Yeah, there's actually volcanoes in the show. There's a guy who can control volcanoes in the show.
Yeah, and there's also an elephant guy.
Where is this based?
Oh, it's based in the US of A.
I meant
glorious
where's the
country.
location of the show?
Is it Baltimore?
It's in Boston, yeah.
Oh,
It's
Boston.
sort of based outside of Boston, where Invincible's house is. Another thing is to watch out for is Adam Eve, a really good character arc. She's more or less presented as a side character in the first season. You can really start seeing like love ties between Invincible and them in the first season, but they just don't share it with each other because they feel like that they don't love, that the other doesn't love another. So it's kind of like just awkward back and forth. But she's also dating our next character, Rexplode.
See,
I love Rexplode.
Rexplode he went through a really good character development arc.
Yes.
You know, in the first season, he was kind of
Ignorant.
he was ignorant. He was, you'd say like the quote unquote antagonist or the protagonist, like not the
Yeah.
villain, but like he's just not
Anti-hero.
anti-hero, he's not a villain. He's a quote unquote good guy. So, he went on a really good character arc, and in season 3 something happens that we'll talk about.
We will mention that sometime. But yeah, I think season 1 as overall, it has good character development. Adam Eve was dating Rexplode, but eventually she catches Rexplode cheating on one of the other characters. What's her name? Duplicate, who would also become one of the Guardians of the Globe, the new Guardians of the Globe. And then, but she's also been recruited by what we were introduced as Robot, who is a person who's super intelligent and who pretty much does everything that he does through Robot because he's deformed. It's the thing is of all of this builds side character pressure, and it makes you think about those characters because you're like, okay, she cheated on him, and they actually go into detail about it, so I'm gonna listen. Now I get to know more about Rexplode, Adam Eve, and Duplicate. And then we also get another character, Monster Girl, who has also been added to the Guardians of the Globe. She's a person that every time she uses her superpowers that become basically their version of the Hulk, she gets younger. So right now, at the point when she becomes a part of the Guardians of the Globe, she's like 14, 15 years old, but she says mine 25-year-old. Not saying anything further than that.
Why are there so many characters?
Because
There's so many.
Because how the show builds, I do not know how they manage to get all these characters their own development. Some of them don't even get development. They're just kind of like characters that are there.
Side characters.
And they're going to be there for season 2. And yeah, pretty much side characters. But some of the side characters are turned into mostly protagonists in their own sense. Like Adam Eve, she'd get her own episode after season 1, and it would tell her backstory, so how she could get powers. Her powers are just to manipulate all matter, but non-living matter. She had a thing built in her head so where she cannot mess with living matter, but everything else that's not matter. And then that's pretty much all the characters that you can name off in season 1. They also bring up these weapons that they could find, and over time through the episode, Omni-Man starts facing characters that give him trouble, a little bit of trouble, and Cecil takes them right when Omni-Man beats them, tries to bring them back to life, saves them. He also finds out Ray Adamant can hurt Invincible. They can hurt them, which is a guy who kidnaps people, turns them into these cyborgs creatures that can put up a fight against Invincible and hurt him. Which they found out is very useful because when they grabbed samples of Invincible's blood, nothing could take it out. They burned it, they put plasma on it, they pretty much nuked his blood, and nothing happened. The blood was fine. Everything else broke around the blood, which shows how strong Invincible and his species are, because they're called Viltrumites. They're built to be this way. They were built to conquer the universe, so they were insanely strong. And when they face off, bro,
I love how both of us. I don't know anything about this show. Cruz, I know you know the most because Cruz is barely talking. You're just taking up all the time.
Pretty much. I'll let Cruz talk for season 2 because he knows a lot about season 2. And so season 1, it's I think over time, as you see Cecil grab more weapons, you start to realize something big might go down because Cecil starts figuring out who killed the Guardians, and so does Omni-Man's wife. His wife, which is kind of messed up. And like other things like that, it also introduces more add-ons to it. It makes you want to go deeper, explore, and what was going on. And Omni-Man later, once he gets caught by his wife who reveals this secret, she finds out through his dietitianist, who wait, what's the word for a person who can make cool suits?
A tailor? Is that
Yeah,
what it is?
tailor.
I think.
He found out through his tailor, who found out that the first blood marks were on Omni-Man's fist, so Omni-Man struck first against the Guardians. And they also found out that some of the wounds that he had on him were from the Guardians. So then once she finds out he did it, the next day, the final episode, Omni-Man flies up to get ready to take over the planet for Viltrum's arrival. And so then Invincible is like hanging out with Adam Eve, trying to figure anything out, trying to see if he could date a girl named Amber, who's a side character that we'll mention in season 2. She does her work. They're talking, and Monio's trying to find Invincible because they need to go do their job. He thinks he's ready to do their job. And while that's happening, Cecil unleashes all of his weapons that he's gathered over the season to stop him. And they get good shots in. Immortal gets brought back to life by the Mauler twins, which are just 2 big, tall, blue smart men that are really good at creating technology. And they use it to bring back Immortal, and Immortal gets some good hits in. Cruz can admit, Immortal can get some good hits in.
Yeah.
But then he got decapitated and sliced in half, so he tried his best. He tried his best.
He tried his best, definitely.
And then Invincible sees this. He's like, "What are you doing? You're not supposed to be doing this. You never did this before." And
What you did was not nice. It's not nice to do that.
10-year-olds be like,
for real. And as Omni-Man starts telling Invincible what his people actually come from, he reveals that the Viltrumites are actually just a giant mongrel conquering empire where they go and conquer entire planets at any cost. It doesn't mean they can wipe out their entire species, they don't care. They believe that conquering everything just because they're better than everybody means it's good. And Invincible knows that even though if they do conquer the Earth, they'll cure cancer, no wars will ever be fought ever again, and crime will be virtually eliminated, turning into a paradise. At the cost of that, if a single dude angers the Viltrumite, an entire city will get wiped off the planet. An entire city just gone. And
So basically real life effects, but once that thing happens, FBI.
Yeah. And Invincible does not want to do this, so Omni-Man has to take drastic measures, starts beating the dog out of his son. Beating the dog out of Invincible tries to fight back, but he gives him the hardest punch. It doesn't even make his neck turn a little bit. He just says please and knocks him down to Antarctica. Yep. Then punches him down. He punches him so much that he knocks him across the world like twice, I think. And then one time he ran him to Boston, grabbed him by his neck, and forced him through an entire train.
Oh.
And then they took him down
Forced him through an entire, moving train?
An entire moving train. Killed everybody on the train. Everybody.
Holy.
Unalived everybody on the train.
Unalived everybody on the train.
What does it make a difference?
No, it doesn't really make a difference.
Censorship.
But yeah, that's pretty much season 1. It ends off with Omni-Man realizing what he's done because he doesn't want to conquer Earth. Earth has changed him. And by the way, Omni-Man has lived for 2,000 years at this point. His species is also virtually immortal. And so then he realizes what he's done. He realized he cannot take over Earth. He can't do it. So then he flies off and season 1
Jesus
ends.
is still older.
Yeah.
Oh, Dip Sherlock was born
that is a real thing in the universe.
Good.
They confirmed it in season 3.
Good.
So yeah, Cruz can talk about season 2 now.
All right. So season 2 isn't really like much of season 1. You know, they introduced a few. Is Battle Beast introduced yet in season 2?
Battle Beast was introduced in season 1.
Season 1? Oh, okay. So yeah,
Who?
we forgot to introduce Battle Beast.
Oh, I forgot to tell you about that. Giant tiger humanoid guy that's capable of beating up Viltrumites.
He's literally just in it for the fun. He wants to throw hands.
He's a throw hands guy.
That's all he wants to do, just throw some hands.
So the opposite of me.
Yes.
Yeah, Battle Beast is in it for the love of the sport.
Mike Tyson if he was a tiger.
Love of the game, as they say. Anyways, so season 2 was just like, you know, like he said, Omni-Man, aka Nolan, he flew away and stuff. Had this whole dramatic scene of him looking into a black hole, yada yada yada. And then he goes to a bug species.
Ooh.
And let's just say he gets settles down with the bug species, as they say.
Bug girl too.
Bug girl. And Mark Grayson now has a younger brother called Oliver.
It's just also the second species that we found that's the only one that's able to give babies that can actually become Viltrumites. It's the other species. That's why Viltrum wants Earth so much, because they're the only other species that can give them pure-blooded Viltrumites.
Okay.
That's pretty much season 2.
I'm still trying to process this.
All right. Anyways,
There's also a little bit of arguments between Invincible and Cecil. You can start to see that season 2. They also introduced a new character. You know, the girl.
I don't know her name.
Anissa.
So Anissa basically goes to Mark Grayson and is like, "You're gonna come with me so we can settle down and do the thing." But Mark is like, "No, I can't." And then she fights Mark, and Mark pretty much gets beat down again.
Another beatdown. And by the way, in season 2, he trained. He was trained to be 138% stronger than he usually was. He was 138% stronger. He was capable of lifting meteors the size of Texas easily, and he did it for training. He was training to do that. And then she comes along and just beats him up, just casually destroys him. And she tell her what she said. She said that somebody else stronger was coming, which will introduce a character in season 3 that ends off the season.
Somebody else stronger was coming, but they don't know that the person that is coming doesn't know that Nolan left, that Omni-Man left already. He thinks Mark is the guy, but we'll talk about that later. Anyways, so Mark gets a new brother, Oliver, and Viltrumites grow up pretty quick. So by like start of season 3, he's already like a kid, or some would say like a 10-year-old, maybe a 12-year-old. And
At 1 year old, because he ages faster.
yeah, they age faster and stuff, and then they slow down when they get to I'd say
Once a Viltrumite is related to a Thraxan, once they get to teen years, they'll stop aging that way.
they'll slow down their growth thing and stuff. So so he has a new little brother, Oliver, And this season, I think he gets with Adam Eve.
Yes.
Invincible.
Finally!
Mark gets
You're
with
gonna
Adam Eve.
hate Amber. Amber's like his first love life. She sucks. Horrible character.
Who's first love life?
Amber. She's like this black girl.
Mark.
In no relation. I don't say.
Who's first?
Amber.
Invincible.
Amber and Invincible, they get along. They date each other in the first season. Second season, they break up. Thank God, because she's such a bad character. Season 3, she makes a redemption. But season 2, she's just like, I don't care that you get your butt beat by a Viltrumite that can rip through our planet. You're not with me all the time. You're ignoring me. You're ignoring me.
All right. So the rest of season 2 is just a bunch of other small fights and character development. Season 3 is where it gets pretty interesting. But we
also-
introduce this new character. It's the guy with a big forehead.
We also, Alan the Alien. He actually made an appearance in season 1. But when went into Earth and found out that Invincible's a Viltrumite that betrayed his people, and his dad also kind of did it, he went back to his countries, which is basically a coalition of planets to stop Viltrum. He went to the council to be like, bro, I just found these 2 people who are some of the strongest people in the universe. They just betrayed their people. We gotta exploit this. I don't know. And then the leader says, I believe you. Let's do it. And then he also told him about infiltrator in the nation that's kind of leaking their ideas to the Viltrum Empire. And so he goes, but once he's done with that, he goes to eat, and then he gets jumped by 3 Viltrumites. Those 3 Viltrumites come back in season 2 to fight Invincible and all of them. They all get killed. Invincible barely survives that, but since he survived it, the Viltrumites are like, okay, you're now officially a Viltrumite, and you're gonna go take Earth back. This is after the Nissa fight. So that's pretty much all of season 2 and season 1. Season 3, I could wrap up season 3 easily.
Bet you could.
It's literally just Guardians of the Globe start getting better character development. They get better. It also introduces the fight between Cecil and Invincible, where Cecil throws hundreds of reanimate at him, and they
Hundreds of what?
Hundreds of reanimate. Hundreds.
The robots that could beat up
From season 1?
season 1.
They're robots that are capable of damaging Viltrumites.
Okay.
And so he starts fighting them. He beats up Invincible badly, but Invincible manages to overpower Cecil's powers. And he also finds out that Cecil has a signal device that can hurt Viltrumites at a certain frequency.
So like an EMP.
Yeah, like an EMP for Viltrumites. But a robot managed to remove it from his head. It was too deep in his head for Invincible to get to, and Invincible managed to grab Cecil, and he told him that he's never going to work for him ever again. And then they break up, but they still kind of work together as a distant helpers. And then season 3 ends off with the Invincible War with a guy. What's his name?
The guy with portals.
Portals.
He was introduced earlier in the season.
Season 2?
Season 2, where he got into a fight with Invincible.
He was a side fight, but they paid it off, but they also played it off as a character that was going to come back later. He came back later, threatened his family, broke his mom's arm, and then Invincible killed him. That was the first person Invincible's ever killed. So that's his first ever kill. He survives because he went through a teleportal through ancient human species that's capable of reviving him. They brought him back. He grabbed a bunch of Invincibles from other universes, and then that started the Invincible War, which was just a bunch of Invincibles fighting against Invincible's Earth. Lots of them get killed, and then whatever's left gets sent to a desert planet by the big mind dude. And then the season ends off with Conquest, who is basically the second strongest Viltrumite ever. It's a big battle. The Conquest wipes out 2 cities while they fight. He wipes out Boston, and he wipes out San Francisco. He drags Invincible through San Francisco to wipe it out. And then
Boston, San Francisco, completely opposite sides of the country.
Yeah, and they didn't go through the country. They went around.
They went through Canada?
No, through France, through Russia, through China, all the way to San Francisco.
Yeah, they went around the world fighting.
He was literally putting cracks in the earth when he fought.
And this is where Oliver finally, every time about beatdowns on Invincible. So they're going to a fight, right? Conquest is fighting Invincible. Invincible is getting his butt absolutely beat down.
It's not even a fight. He's kind of like toying with him at that point.
Yeah, he's not even really caring for the fight anymore. He's just toying with Mark or Invincible.
Yeah.
And Oliver comes in, hits a Conquest, throwing him back. Here comes a big beatdown.
And he comes in, Conquest just rears back and slaps him so hard that he breaks his ribs.
Breaks
Breaks his ribs
smashes
and
him
puts
to the ground.
And puts a crater in the earth.
Only breaks its ribs?
Breaks his all of his chest.
From like how far up?
They were, so Oliver's right here, I'm Conquest. Right there in the middle of the street.
How do you only break the ribs when that happens?
He's a Viltrumite. But yeah, that's pretty much that's pretty much a big portion of the fight. Then Adam Eve shows up. Invincible's already lost, had his leg broken by Conquest. He just casually broke his leg. And he almost ripped Oliver in half.
Yeah, he almost ripped Oliver in half.
He said, take a break, Invincible. Got up to him, smacked him across like 2 blocks, slammed him to a building, grabbed Oliver, and was about to rip him in half. And Invincible just got in there. Then Adam Eve showed up. She tried to help. She did a pretty good fight, but then she got impaled.
She got an arm put through her, and then she got her like face smacked off.
Yeah, and then but since when you're about to die, as Adam Eve, when she's about to die, her nerve block deactivates, which allows her to repair herself, and she also used that time to launch a beam that was capable of ripping off Conquest's skin.
Literally.
And that gave Invincible just enough chance to try and kill him, and Invincible took the shot.
Like
and,
Ripping it off like this.
yes.
Yeah, like disintegrating it off. Like
Yes.
Like that one dude in Deadpool Wolverine.
Yes. At this point, Invincible has a broken leg, 2 broken arms, and his chest is basically caved in. And so what he does is that he starts bashing Conquest's head in with his head, and he asks him, "Is this what you wanted? Is this what you wanted? Say something." And Conquest responds back with, "I take the good with the bad." And then Invincible kills him. And then once he's sent to the hospital later on, he asks Cecil to see the body, and Cecil shows him a fake body. The real body is underneath 6 miles of earth and 400 tons of titanium steel. And he's gonna wait for Conquest to wake up and question him about the Viltrum Empire, which is stupid, because Omni-Man could break out of that. And he's like number 3 or number 4. He's not even the strongest character.
Okay, listen. I saw this about the Cecil stuff about him. It's actually not that stupid that he did this. Because we learned in the show, hear me out. We learned in the show that there's only 50 Viltrumites left. 50 pure-blooded Viltrumites left,
Yeah,
right?
but Cecil doesn't know that.
Cecil doesn't know that. To him, there could be millions or billions more out there. So he could wait for Mark to come back. Because during this, Mark gets captured in prison and is about to get executed, but saved by Alan the alien.
No, Omni-Man gets in prison.
Omni-Man, yeah, my bad. Omni-Man gets saved by Alan the alien. And he can just go tell Cecil this information, right?
Yeah.
But to Cecil, he doesn't know this shit.
He thinks Omni-Man is gone.
He thinks
he's
gone. He thinks he's gone, pretty much dead. And to him, there is still possibly millions or billions of Viltrumites out there left in the world. So he has to take this opportunity to try and get information, even though he just wait for Omni-Man to come back.
But the fact that he knows that, and Nissa said that there's someone stronger, and Conquest admits to Invincible that he is the second strongest Viltrumite out there. He is the second strong. He went to Invincible and be like, "Bro, you don't have a chance. I am the second strongest Viltrumite out there. You don't stand a chance." And Cecil knows about this. And he saw Invincible lift. Invincible and them, they can fly. They can lift themselves off of anything and anything. Even if there's nothing there, they have the ability to do that. They can even lift things off of nothing. And they saw Invincible lift an ice block that was the same size as New York City, which was definitely way more than 6 miles of dirt and 400 tons of titanium. He saw him lift that stuff. I do not know why Cecil would do that. Why would Cecil trap Conquest, the strongest Viltrumite?
But you can't really, you can blame him for not really killing him off, but to him, this is like his only opportunity to get information.
Yeah, I can understand that.
He doesn't know that, Omni-Man's gonna come back. Does he know about the execution that's happening?
No, Cecil has no idea.
Okay.
Execution?
Oh, yes. Omni-Man, once after the fight in season 2 with those 3 Viltrumites, Omni-Man gets critically injured, and Omni-Man gets taken by the Viltrumites to get executed. And season 3 introduces how he eventually now portrays his people and gives out information about them, releasing that there's only less than 50 Viltrumites left. Yes, and that introduces more character development, and Alan and them now go to the Coalition to become best friends. Now, season 4, they're probably going to do missions to go find creatures that can stop Viltrumites, because Omni-Man knows where those things are. In his books that he made on Earth, he talks about creatures and things that could actually take down Viltrumites, and Invincible gives those books to the Coalition. And right now, only Cecil knows is that there's a coalition out there that fights Viltrumites. Nolan's dead. He thinks Nolan's dead.
Yeah, he thinks Omni-Man's dead.
And that no one else, even the Coalition doesn't know. Only not Omni-Man knows this, and the other Viltrumites, that there's only 50 of them left.
Pure-blooded Viltrumites left. Okay, anyways, so that's what happens in season 3, and now we're waiting for season 4.
Yeah, that's pretty much the whole season. It ends off with all of that, but it also ends off with a new enemy, the Devil. This is the only season that we know that they're branching off from the actual comics, and they're creating their own season 4. Like season 4
What is Satan doing here?
So one of Satan's workers, or actually was summoned by Cecil to be an investigator to find out who killed the Guardians of the Globe. Cause who else? You gonna find Sherlock Gnomes? What's he gonna do? Yeah, that's right. You gotta get out the devil. So then he figures out how to escape hell. So then he lets the devil know, I know somebody who's strong enough, and this could it's not Invincible to them. They believe it could introduce a new character. And so we believe season 4 is mostly going to be Invincible fighting Satan himself.
Oh, well, they're also... I don't think he's going to fight Thrag yet. But
No, he's going to probably fight Thrag in like season 7.
Thrag is getting introduced in season 4.
Yeah, they're going to introduce him at the end.
Thrag is the strongest Viltrumite to this date.
Which
that we know.
means that for season 4, we're also going to see Conquest come back and fight Invincible.
Yeah, Conquest is not dead. Well, he'll probably escape.
He can definitely.
He will definitely escape.
In the comics, he escaped and drove through 6 miles of dirt easily.
Anyways.
So you guys
yeah.
have read the comics and watched the entire
Yes.
series.
I read the comics a long time ago. I love the comics.
I've just seen a little bit of the series.
Okay, I didn't know they made comics. All I knew is that we would just show.
Did you know Invincible is in the first show of it? They actually released like a quote-unquote audiobook that you could watch on a platform where it'd be the comic pages and then it'd be people voicing the comic pages.
Oh, let's go.
But they stopped in production and you can't find it anywhere now.
Okay. Another thing is, we forgot to mention not the Thraxans. It's just other alien species that invaded Earth 3 times in season 1 that Omni-Man came over there and pretty much wiped off almost all their race, but they age faster. Time goes faster on their planet, and sooner or later they're going to come back in like season 5 to come back. That's pretty much it, everybody. But for last thing, we would like to know what William thinks, and would you ever try the show?
I would try it sometime. I don't know when, but I would definitely try it.
Do you have any questions? Any questions for any characters or whatever?
No, not really.
Yeah,
except
basically
where can you find it?
Invincible? Prime Video.
Prime Video.
That's it?
Yeah, it's a Prime Video only show. But if you want to watch like
What?
comments and all that, you
Like
can do
buy
it.
and rent only?
No, it's for free. If you own the TV, if you own Prime Video, then you can watch it for free, the whole thing.
All right. Well, that is Invincible.
I think this review went really well. I'm glad to see that William will willing to try the show, and we're happy to inform you about this glorious peak cinema.
Yep. Thank you guys for Thank you guys for listening to the Fall Off Podcast.
That's pretty much it.
If you like Invincible, hit that like button and subscribe.
See y'all.